Hey everyone, James Reeves with TFBTV here. Just got back from Nuremberg, Germany. Nuremberg was actually as cool as shit, as long as I guess you weren't on trial for war crimes, but I wasn't, at least not yet, so I had a great time. This time, I was there to go to IWA Outdoor Classics. Don't ask me what IWA stands for because I don't know, and frankly, I'm too lazy to Google it, but I flew across the Atlantic Ocean anyways to attend. Not really sure what I was getting into, and my God, it was amazing. Hi. 100% of the videos from IWA this year were all posted on TFBTV Showtime instead of the TFBTV main channel. Showtime is our new channel that we started to cover only shows and conventions. And ultimately, the goal is for us to migrate all of that content, show content, from TFBTV over to Showtime. Do us a favor, go over there and subscribe. Right now we only have about 75,000 subs, and you guys are missing out on some really, really cool shit. In fact, in the next few days, I'm going to make a video about the best booths from IWA. It was a totally different vibe from SHOT Show, and I'll elaborate on that point a little bit more when we get to like the top 5 booth video. So go over, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that little notification bell or whatever it is. One of the coolest things about IWA is the fact that you see a bunch of guns that fit into one of 3 distinct categories. One, guns that we'll never have in the United States, but you get to play with them anyways in Germany. 2, guns that are on the way to the United States, but you're getting an early look at them in Europe. And 3, guns that aren't necessarily coming to the United States, but when a US-based importer sees a hot video about some cool gun on TFBTV Showtime, they call me, they decide that they maybe want to start importing them, they ask me questions about it, and believe me, I had a conversation only today with an importer who was like, what'd you think of that so-and-so gun? So I think that's pretty freaking neat. I really appreciate the cross-pollination, and we are definitely going back to IWA next year. Handguns, of course, my favorite classification. So the first video that we're doing is the top 5 handguns from IWA. Stay tuned for the top 5 long guns in just a few days. Number 5, a bit of a shocker because this was a company I'd never even heard of before. Not even once, but they offer an incredible handgun that's kind of expensive. But relative to other guns in the same class, the price is actually quite reasonable. Think of it like buying a Ferrari-type car at an Acura-like price. I'm talking about Spore Revolvers.
Hello, my name is Thomas Spore, and I'm the founder and producer of the new Spore Revolver line.
I spoke with Thomas Spore, the man himself, and that's one thing that you'll note about IWA. You talk to the engineers, you talk to the owners, not a bunch of lying-ass marketers like at the shows here in the United States. Spore makes top-tier German revolvers with a gorgeous classic meets modern aesthetic and with thoughtful features. Mr. Spore, he got his start by tuning Smith & Wesson revolvers. He knew them inside and out. He was doing this in Germany, but he became frustrated with the fact that many big-box revolvers use metal injection molded trigger parts, and it couldn't give him what he wanted from a gun, which is an extraordinary trigger. So what does the man do? Decides to make his own damn revolver, and I respect the hell out of that.
Especially for the European market, you need a very fine trigger, and that cannot be done with metal injection molding parts, which are using the bigger companies. So we do all the parts by wire cutting, and they are have a very thin blade on the trigger, and you can do a very light single action trigger. So and it will release for a long time.
So it's fair to say then, because that's the first thing that came to your mind, the most important thing here is that you want to be able to manufacture a revolver with an extremely fine, sensitive trigger.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
And yeah, you're also looking at a solid Damascus steel 357 Magnum in this B-roll. The craftsmanship of these Spore revolvers was amazing. They're surprisingly imported in very small numbers, starting at the mid to low $2,000 range, so you can get them in the United States as it turns out. Compare that to like a Mandarin revolver, which I have, which I love, which is a classic design, less modern, but those go for well over $3,000. Moving on to number 4, you all know this is our controversy slot because you don't start out a video on the top 5 handguns with a black powder Derringer, but you damn sure don't put a black powder Derringer in the top 3 guns either. That's right. One of our most popular handgun videos from the show was the Tectonics Gladiator. Now, Tectonics, I'm not sure, I don't think that it's related to the former Tectonics Compact, like 1911 handgun company in the US, but this version of Tectonics makes black powder 50 caliber Derringers. I don't really give a shit about black powder. I don't really give a shit about Derringers. But as an attorney, what I do love is bending the law a little bit with technicalities.
We are Tectonics, and our pistols are proudly made in Czech Republic. As you say, it's double barrel, black powder muzzleloader in 50 cal. The main point of these pistols are in our country you can buy it without any gun license. It's perfect for home self-defense.
And that's exactly what the Tectonics Gladiator does. In many states and in many countries, this doesn't even qualify as a firearm because it's black powder. I'm not your lawyer. This is not legal advice, and if I was your lawyer, you're probably screwed. But I will say this, I know for sure that there are several states where a black powder gun is not a firearm. So you could carry it if you're otherwise disqualified under state or federal law from carrying a firearm. And in some states, this could be a loophole even for concealed carry. So even if you don't have concealed carry in your state, you're technically not carrying a firearm. Of course, check your local laws. But the same thing goes for foreign countries, and that's why Tectonics makes these. Modern problems require modern solutions. And these are like modern black powder Derringers, designed to be as flat and compact as possible while still packing a massive punch. I mean, after all, if you're only getting 2 shots, you better make them count, right? These certainly do, because you're talking about over 600 foot-pounds of energy from these 50 caliber barrels, which is more powerful than 44 Special, and that's pretty impressive. Number 3 could have been my number 1. We're talking about the Bull Axe series of handguns. Bull Armory went from being a company I'd never even heard of a few years ago to now being one of my favorite manufacturers out there. And you already know my favorite handgun is Glock, end of story. So it's a fun little day for me when I get to see 2 of my favorite manufacturers merge at the same point in space and time, and that's what the Bull Axe is.
So we have finally launched the Axe series. It comes in a couple of sizes, a compact and a full size. This is the cleaver, which is, let's say, the basic one. They all share the same frame and same features. So a grip module that has a 1911-ish angle to it, an oversized mag release. They all have flat triggers as standard, extended control, accelerator cuts on the frame. And the difference between each model is really the slide.
The Gen 3 Glock came out in 1999, meaning that the patent expired around 2019, meaning that everyone is now making Gen 3 Glock clones. There are good ones, there are bad ones, but this one from Bolt looks to be almost perfect. MSRP is going to be about the same as a Glock. The price they gave me off the record was maybe a $650 MSRP, but you all know the rule. If it's going to be cheaper than Glock, it doesn't have to be as good. But if you're going to make it the same price as Glock or more expensive, you better bring some features to the table. And fortunately, that's what this Bull Armory Axe does. Not only is Bull a well-known and respected manufacturer, so you know you're probably getting a quality product, but they looked at common complaints about the standard Glock series of pistols, and they attempted to address them with upgrades of their own in the Axe series. The Axe Hatchet and the Cleaver are basically Gen 3 Glocks with extra, extremely good-looking machining on the slides and with 3.5 to 4.5 pound match triggers. I posted a picture of one of these on Instagram, and people have kind of a love it or hate it reaction to the frame. But I liked it. I mean, it definitely puts out like a synthwave vibe, and you guys know I'm gonna think that's hot. It's also got recesses in the side of the grip to make it easier to remove, say, a jammed up magazine. The Tomahawk is the top of the line model, which includes a fluted barrel, lightning cuts in the slide, an optic cut, and it's got that oh so hot right now black and gold titanium nitride look. If it were me and I were Bull, I would have introduced something in between the Tomahawk and like the Cleaver and the Hatchet. I don't want fancy lightning cuts, especially if I'm going to carry it. I don't want to pay for titanium nitride parts. I don't want some fruity narwhal horn looking fluted barrel. I just want a lightly featured pistol, match triggers nice, that I could carry with the ability to mount an optic. But unfortunately, if you want an optic, you have to go all the way to the Tomahawk. and you got to skip over the cleaver and the hatchet. That's my only complaint about these pistols. Remember when I said they were almost perfect? Bull says they have a T&E copy in the works on the way to this guy, and I will give you all the full rundown because I am very thrilled to get my hands on this one. Number 2 might not have been my number 2, but it was so popular with you guys. It was our second most popular pistol video. I had to put it this high on the list. And then I realized, like maybe on my 29th or 30th viewing of this video, I'm pretty sure that maybe it wasn't just the gun that got the clicks for the FK Brno PSD Compact video. For those of you who aren't familiar, the FK Brno PSD is a polymer framed handgun designed as a massive full-size or duty-size pistol, essentially designed for hog hunting or for security assignments in the Middle East that required compact firearms that still had reach out to 100 yards. I shit you not. FK Brno designed the 7.5mm FK, which is a round that tracks the size of light 9mm, like the high 90 to low 100 grain range, but it absolutely whips these bullets out at 2,000 feet per second, giving it massive stopping power and excellent range. Not to mention the gun was designed with a very robust recoil system that minimizes the harsh effects of firing such a powerful cartridge. And if you watch my review of the original PSD, the recoil system works as advertised. Despite being a really potent caliber, it's not that bad to shoot. But to conceal, absolutely forget about it. The PSD and its predecessor, the FK Brno field pistol, they are massive hunks of sleek metal, and they're pretty heavy to boot. Enter the FK Brno PSD Compact. It's the same gun as the PSD, and yes, that means you can also convert it to 10mm with a barrel swap. But it's actually much more compact, even concealable. It's still a little bit of a chunky boy, approaching 40 ounces, but it's still lighter than a government 1911 while giving you more power and much more capacity. In fact, you get 15 total rounds of this monster caliber in a flush fit magazine that you can conceal in your waistband. Plus, it just looks so damn good. And the gun's good looking too. FK Brno, if you guys are watching this, I'm going to be FK-ing pissed if I don't get a review copy stat. Moving on to number 1, and if you ask me, James, what was the coolest handgun that you saw at IWA? Or you said, James, which booth had the most pumped up, best attitude company rep? In either case, I would say it was Revo Arms, or I'm sorry, Revo Arms. I spoke with its founder and chief engineer about the Revo Arms IS-9.
Inverardi Simone.
Thank you for having us in the booth to talk to us about your new gun. Tell us all about it.
I'm an engineer in all the world, all the automotive, everything. During these 15 years, there is a lot of increase of performance, but I see that with the firearms, the form is the same. 15 years ago is the same, but today. So I want to introduce something of news. So the best thing for me is take the barrel lowest as possible for have the minimum recoil.
The Revo Arms IS-9 was our most popular handgun video from the show, and its claim to fame is that it has the lowest bore axis pistol with a conventional Browning short-action locking system. In other words, it's the same type of action you see in most SIG pistols, Glocks, etc. This one uses that same action, which is inexpensive but simple and reliable, but it still manages to have a bore axis nearly as low as, for example, the Laugo Alien.
We have an internal chassis by molding, so very strong, and after that we machine complete by CNC machine. So you have front and rear rail with very, very, very low tolerance, like the metal frame.
The Alien, as cool as it is, costs thousands of dollars. It's heavy as piss. It uses this wonky proprietary operating system. Now, the Revo Arms IS-9, on the other hand, is lightweight, Italian-made, very simple design, almost as low of a bore axis, but it only has a $650 projected MSRP. The guys at Revo are going to try to get this thing in the United States, which is always a tricky proposition, but 9mm handguns are infinitely easier to get imported into the US over, say, rifles, so who knows? It could happen, and by God, I hope it does, because I was extremely impressed with this piece of Italian engineering, and man, getting the full stereotypical Italian presentation from the most enthusiastic, pumped up factory rep at the show made it all worthwhile. That's it, guys. I love you. We're absolutely going back to IWA next year, but we're not done with our coverage of the show yet. Make sure you go over to TFBTV Showtime, check out all the videos. Stay tuned to TFBTV Main, and in a couple days, we're going to be bringing you the top 5 long guns from IWA. Again, don't forget to subscribe to Showtime. And by the way, we paid for this trip out of our own pocket because of supporters like you. From Subscribestar, and maybe at the time this video airs, we might be on Utreon. We got kicked off of Patreon essentially for being a gun channel today, so fuck those guys. We're doing Subscribestar and Utreon only. Again, I didn't plug like a 30-second long shitty video game or app or like gold or a security system in today's video. I didn't get paid to make this video to say like these are the best guns by these manufacturers. We're independent because you guys support us on Subscribestar. So please go over there, help us out, throw us $1 a month. Who knows? You might even win a free gun because we do a gun giveaway where we give away 4 guns every single month. But guys, I'm just glad you're watching. Take care.